due to the economic status of our county. And I'm gonna let Ryan expand on that a little bit.
In discussions with Mr. Klein, Peter, he put together a scorecard based off of what he knew, and we actually discussed it too. And he said a score of 450 on that scorecard would mean that it wasn't feasible to try to go after the Oprah grant.
How's that 450 originate? What does that mean?
It has to do with population, historical value, location, condition of building. I mean, I didn't have the scorecard, but I mean, basically there are several things that go into it. That's why he wanted to put it together first.
Okay.
And he said, so a 450 would make it non-feasible. 500 would make it like that we could get. He said in his limited knowledge, he came up with 475.
Okay.
So he said we are within the range to look at going after it. He's wanting to look at going after $500,000. Right now we've got the two 401 and 435 Main Street Jonesboro that we have demo orders on. We also have J.C. Knight that has come in and talked to the commissioners and the council and was asking for ARPA money. And then we also have, if we can get it included, we have the Upland Print Shop, which we have a signed demo contract with.
Who will control how that money's spent?
Well, that's what we're waiting on. Mike wanted to wait to find out what happens tomorrow.
Okay.
And once we have that done, he wants to start looking at the demolition. So if it's going to be feasible, we'll probably pull in Upland, Jonesboro, for them, because some of it will have to be, Jonesboro will have to own those buildings. So we would have to, both of our demo orders are in tax sales right now, but owned by Kenneth Puckett, who has passed away. His son doesn't own them, or hasn't taken
He hasn't taken ownership of those.
ownership of them. So we would have to figure out how to get those buildings into Jonesboro's name. The school.
J.C. Knight.
Well, J.C. Knight, but the school that's there.
King's Academy.
King's Academy. They also, I believe they own the building. So if they would sell it back to Jonesboro for $1.
Mm-hmm.
So that Jonesboro would have those under their possession. So this is what I want Mike to come in and, if he thinks it's feasible to bring all the players in.
So will the APC be making the decisions how that money's gonna be spent?
I do not believe so.
Who will be?
It'll probably be the towns.
The towns, okay.
It's generally our responsibility to take care of the demolition.
So this money would be actually granted to the towns instead of as something that the APC would manage? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah,
Okay.
I believe that's true. But again, that's where I want Mike to come in and sit down and say,
Okay.
here's everything that we've got to do.
Okay, so for you town commission members, that's something we might wanna
Yeah.
at least bring to your table when the opportunity comes.
And some of that, if we would go for King's Academy through ARPA money, we're figuring J.C. Knight is a $300,000 to $500,000 demolition if we have to bid it out. What we're hoping is if we can cover that with the Oprah money, then if the county could match 55, 65, he said, even if they would match up to 100,000, it would greatly increase the chances of getting that grant money. So again, that's kind of, where I want him to come in and.
Okay. Once we get that, if we receive the grant for the comprehensive plan, if you guys don't agree, let me know, but I would hope that you could give us a very detailed outline on how we are going to prepare to start that process.
Well,
of the
next,
comprehensive.
as you guys went through the scoring committee and you hired Taylor, Seifker, and Williams, right now they're waiting, I believe, on the commissioners to finalize the contract. There was some questions, and I think they want to have a meeting or discussion to get that signed. As soon as that's signed, it would pretty much be them coming in here saying, okay, we've got
Okay.
the money, we're ready to roll.
So we're waiting on confirmation before Ron takes it from there.
Yeah, there was some, from what if I'm remembering correct, this is a little while back, but there was some language in there that our council didn't really like, so we went back to them, and they basically said that they weren't changing it.
Okay,
Yeah, so we're waiting, and then we're gonna see what our next step is.
Exactly, yeah, they kind of replied back to us in a very nonchalant, you know,
Yeah,
this is the way we do it.
right,
sort of way.
yeah.
okay.
So,
Do we have an option?
There's two, yes, there's two, correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, but there's two other companies. Yeah, and from what I was told,
yeah, if you guys would choose not to, then you would have to go to two.
yeah,
You can't-
all three companies did a tremendous job in their presentation, so it's not like we're stepping down in quality.
I was part of the scoring committee,
Yeah.
so I said to we don't need to be looked down upon or be dictated to
Right.
by somebody that we're paying to.
So
Yep.
our second choice was HWC, should you guys choose to go that way. Choice number 3 was structural.
Okay. Questions for Mr. Malat regarding the Okra grants that we may hopefully have coming our way? All right, we will move, it's gonna be a short meeting, we hope. We'll move to other matters.
You ready for me?
I am ready for any motions that may be placed on the table.
So I'd like to make a motion in regard to Ryan Malott as Executive Director of the APC. I want to recommend a 5-day unpaid suspension for Mr. Malott, and that is pending legal review. A 6-month zero tolerance policy to be determined by the APC Executive Committee as to what that will look like. And then an agreement on Mr. Malott's part to participate in an annual performance review. And that annual performance review will be built and agreed on by the executive committee.
So I have a motion on the table. Second, or motion by Mr. Stewart, second by Mr. Bothwell. Questions?
I think he has that in writing for the secretary, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Roll call vote, Katie.
I can,
Whoa, are
I
we
can-
going to discussion first?
Yes,
Oh,
sorry.
yeah. Thank you, Mr. President. Where you wanting to hear, from the board first or the public? Or
No, the board.
The board. Okay, well, there's very strong opinions over the past several years over several different issues, solar being just one of them. I know that's probably why a lot of you are here today, and when you see something that just says other matters, you think it might mean solar. There's a lot of people who have been emailing us that want us to terminate Mr. Malott. That's your right to feel that way. Unfortunately, there were issues, we're adjudicating issues that happened several years ago. And steps need to be taken, formal steps need to be taken before you can just jump to terminating someone unless there is blatant or egregious breaking of the law. Mr. Malott has the benefit of having the president of the APC present at most of those meetings where the things you didn't like happened. It's on the president of the APC at that time, Mr. Chuck Breedy, in my opinion, who bears the responsibility if you feel you weren't told, the public wasn't informed of what's going on. We are 1,500 permits behind. It's very concerning to me. I don't think Mr. Malott has handled the relationship between the office and the APC and the BZA as well as he could have. He has his faults, certainly. And over this time, I'll be discussing them with him, as we all will. I won't enjoy those conversations because I respect him and he's my friend. I think he's a good building inspector in a lot of ways. He knows his stuff. I think there's a lot of room for growth in leadership and politics and communication and owning mistakes and owning failures of communication, at least partially. I know this is a good compromise because I don't think it makes anybody happy. That's what shows a good compromise. Ryan, I want you to know, people want you fired. This is the compromise. Don't fight this. People, this is the compromise. That's what I'll say. And I'd encourage you all to. Because honestly, we're in a position with the relationship with the county and the commissioners and the public that if we were to take immediate action, we might get that overruled by the commissioners or the county council, or we might have a lawsuit. Or who do we replace him with tomorrow? If we are 1,500 permits behind, we have to start working on it. If we fired him tonight, is the county better tomorrow? I'm not convinced. Maybe he does need to be fired eventually if these things don't get fixed. But we can't do it tonight. And we're just gonna make a bigger hornet's nest if we try to do it. That's all I'll have to say. So I'll be voting yes for all of those reasons.
Other commission comments?
Thank you.
I do have some concerns. I've had a difficult time with Ryan in regard to his acknowledgement of the concerns that have been shared with him, by myself. It appears that there's some reluctance to own some of those concerns, and that's something that I think the board's been made aware of as well. And that will be something that we will be looking at very strongly as we go through the next 6 months, is to make sure that we have seen an improvement in the ability to recognize the concerns and to represent the APC in what it is that we request from him and the way that we would like to see things done versus him defending and fighting for what he believes is best, because he does serve the APC. And I think this commission feels very strongly that we will help him to understand that approval must be granted from us on decisions that are made. And it'll be my responsibility to make sure that he understands that we are seeking approval before actions are taken or decisions are made by him. So that's my position. Any others?
What is the timeline of the suspension? Immediate?
Yes.
I would say, assuming that it goes through tonight, I would say starting tomorrow,
Okay. Okay.
assuming that we get enough yes votes for that, so.
So I guess the other thing we have to consider is is this suspension going to restrict him from having communication with the staff, or where do we lie with his activity off-site? Is all activity suspended?
To me, a suspension is a suspension, so, yeah.
It seems to me that if the staff does have questions or concerns, they could perhaps email you, Randy, or Mr. Bothwell. And if you genuinely don't know, I think it'd be appropriate for you to reach out to Mr. Malott.
I
if it's just-
agree with that.
Okay, I can do that. And Brenda is very knowledgeable. I mean, she's had served this role several occasions, so, I guess I would encourage the staff, we don't want to leave you guys stranded, okay? So feel free to reach out to us, and we hold the burden of making sure that you get the answers that you need so that we can continue the office to run effectively.
So I am understanding then that during this 5-day period, that Brenda will be interim? That's who they would go to as interim. She's done this, she's been with us how many years? 30 what? Going on 30?
I think she was interim last
She has done
time,
this
yeah.
a number of times. In fact, she was interim director before Ryan was chosen as the new director. So she's done it at least twice, I know.
I would note though with Brenda, this week she has got half a day today, a half a day tomorrow, she's off Wednesday. I think she's off a half a day next Monday.
Yeah.
I mean, just,
I will meet with you guys in the morning and we'll work through the logistics of this, if the commission's in agreement with that.
Yeah, yeah, as long as it's within the next 10 days. I mean, we can't put it off forever, but yeah, we want to make it make sense for the office as much as it will. The office is not going to run efficiently for those 5 days. That's the reality.
I'd like to get it done as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Just,
We'll get through it. If
Yes.
the motion states that it starts tomorrow, it starts tomorrow. We will work through it. Everybody agree with that?
Do we need to,
I'm sorry?
do we need to? say yes
We
or no?
are gonna take a vote here. I guess the question is, do we change this up a little bit? Clayton, you help me with this. Clayton, are you seeking maybe some audience input at this point, before the action or after the action?
I mean, I feel like we've discussed it a little bit. I hope the public doesn't, I don't want to give the impression that decisions were made and reasons were not shared in executive session. I want us to be open, especially considering recent concerns. I hope I've given a fair, I don't know, I would almost ask the opinion of somebody else. I probably would not adjudicate that well.
I have to leave at 9 o'clock, so
Okay.
if you do want to seek public comment before, then if you want me to, I would like for my vote to be on record. It needs to be in the next 15 minutes.
Maybe if we could request, since we did get a full packet of the solar issues, and I think we're aware of the concerns with that, maybe if there's anyone that wants to address it not regarding solar, because we do have 1,800 pages
Okay.
of that,
Okay.
if there's anything else to add.
All right, we're gonna do, okay, we got about 13 minutes. We'll do 3 for 3 minutes
We are suspending action
until
after public input. That's what we're doing.
3 minutes, Ed. We got a timer?
Okay,
Be
Board,
firm on this.
I want to make you aware, this decision is yours, no one else's. You cannot be overruled. Not by the commissioners, not by the council, not by anybody. You're an independent board. The area plan reports to you. This is your decision. And the information I shared with you was all from the public record. And I
Okay.
hope you consider it.
Thank you. Mr.
Good evening. My name is Ruth Garrett. I don't like handout before Mr. Hartman even came up. So I'm supposed to not.
Here, Ms.
Yeah, Hartman, okay. My name is Rita Garrett. Prior to taking my part-time employment here at APC, I knew Ryan as a home inspector. I ran a successful real estate business for 22 years in Grant County and surrounding. He did most of my home inspections and 90% of the other realtors out there because he was thorough, he was honest, he was fair, he was transparent, and he was open for discussion by the buyer, the seller, or the realtor. So he was an open door policy. So when I started here 1 year ago, this is the first thing that I noticed about Ryan as a leader. I don't know Ryan on a friend basis out in the public having a beer or whatever, I drink beer, but it's just a professional relationship, period. So when I came here, the first thing I noticed about Ryan as a leader here at ABC, he brought those same traits and work ethic with him. He is well respected as area plan executive director by all the employees. I do think I speak for all the employees. Okay. Oh gosh, I'm just flabbergasted by this whole thing. And the contractors. He has an open door policy to contractors. He has an open door policy to every one of you people. Any one of you people that say, hey Ryan, can I come and have 10 minutes of your time? He'll give it to you. I've seen 2 APC people up there for a very short period of time. They have no idea what I do, what he does, what she does, what Grace does, what Nicole does. Nobody knows our job. Nobody's been in our shoes to know our job. So, there's that. No one's obliged by coming up, and instead they'd just rather slam him on email or on messages or send hurtful messages through whoever to get to him. Many contractors call Ryan on a daily basis, several times a day, to discuss codes. Well, I have 1 minute?
1 minute.
One minute.
Oh, okay. Ryan nearly has the book memorized on codes, but he's not arrogant. Sometimes he'll say one, I better check that. Ryan's heart is in making Grant County better. I believe he has become the scapegoat. Ryan is the only facilitator. He doesn't even have a vote in anything. So I challenge every one of you in here. I work with him, I know it's the truth. He's a facilitator, he doesn't sign anything. Go back and look at all the meetings starting in 2000, every APC meeting. You can look at them on YouTube or whatever you choose. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay, Rita.
With all this going on, Ryan still gives 110% and he could have the GEO finished. Our GEO is not finished because you guys took 2 months of his time. We cannot do our work because of all this mess.
Thank you.
He works 20 hours.
Time's up, Rita, I'm
And
sorry.
it's not paid. You're done?
Time's up, I'm sorry.
Well, I see how this works.
It's 3 minutes. We said it ahead of time, Rita.
3 minutes. I still have 2 minutes, didn't I? It's 2 minutes
All
and
right.
5 seconds.
I'm Jerry Schultz.
3 minutes, Jerry.
You know, a slap on the wrist doesn't repay all the money that my wife and I have spent because we've been lied to and told something different on a piece of property in Fairmount, Indiana. Every time you go to talk to Ryan a lot, I get a different answer, a different reason why. Not the truth, a different reason. I was told by the area plan I needed to get a zoning variance. I went up and talked to him and he said I didn't need one. I told people on the BZA that he said I didn't need one and they said I do. When I went up to get it, I went with to the recorder's office with Katie and I got the ordinance that the town had sent me that our property is exempt on the fence. Now, everybody says he's done what's right, but how many other people have been put in my position and my wife's position and lied to about this stuff? And when I got this information, I shared it. Now, Mr. Schultz here is a personal friend, and that's okay. I've got personal friends too, but you can't protect your personal friends when they're hurting somebody else monetarily or anything.
Got a minute, Jerry.
Now, was we supposed to get a variance? I don't know, because all the ordinance that I have says no. But yet, I guess Mr. Malott said that he put a no-stop order on our property because of the emergency vehicles. The stop order on our property said to stop until the town of Fairmount gets their survey. Doesn't say anything about emergency vehicles. And we didn't block the alley, it was on our property. So why, he put a stop order, when before that he told us he didn't have the authority to do it. It was the town of Fairmount. Now, who has the authority or who doesn't have the authority? And yes, I'm frustrated. And I don't think a slap on the wrist is enough.
Thank you,
Because
Jerry.
I've got too much money tied up.
My name is Brad Dillon, I live 8113 Willing Pike, Jonesboro. Back December 6, 2021, there was a area plan meeting to discuss my property. Mr. Malott was informed that through emails and phone calls that we was running a business, a daycare. I did a addition onto my house without a permit, put a roof on my house without a permit. That is all on video of that meeting. I went back and watched it. Mr. Malott did his very best to convince and ask the board what he should do. More or less kind of told him what he wanted to do. So to investigate our property, we was handed this 25-page, 30-page letter via signature through the mail. that accused us of doing all these things. So without a phone call or anyone from the office investigating what we were doing, we received all this of how we were violating the Grant County laws. By a phone call to Mr. Millot, I got them out there the next day to see what was going on. Because of a neighbor and another, what they were doing to their property, they had to come up with a special agreement. Mr. Millot supposedly knows all the codes in the book, so what he put us through to be able to technically operate a small business on our farm had nothing to do with anything in the plans of the book, codes, or anything. We just draw up a written agreement, which amounts to nothing, to, I guess, appease him. My point is, this is way beyond solar. It is more of what Mr. Millot would like to see happen, on his opinion. I actually hired a lawyer that cost me over $5 grand to deal with this situation. I know, obviously, there are more out there. My point is that something actually needs to take place, because this is way out solar.
Maybe we can hear more after the vote is taken. Maybe Mr. Millot doesn't have to stay, you know, if people want to share with us, but I do know we can take it up right now.
All right, we have a motion on the floor by Mr. Stewart, we have a second by Mr. Boswell. Roll call.
Boswell. Cobell.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Temple. Oh wait, he's not here, sorry. Pearson.
Yes.
Poland.
Yes.
Schultz.
I'm sorry to both groups. Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Todd.
Yes.
Motion carries. All right, understand, Ryan, what's expected, what this motion resulted in? You clear on what our expectations are? Okay.
And you will be getting with him after the 5-day suspension to talk about the expectations, put that in writing and.
If we could be
sit down and go
emailed
through
those,
correct.
please.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yep. In terms of the classroom, Ryan, I would tell kids that you are under the microscope.
I do have a question along with the Oprah announcement.
Mhm.
And is it okay to send it to you?
Yes.
And thank you for
I
that,
would
Ryan.
disseminate the outcome of that to the rest of the commission. Okay? And I'll meet with you guys 8 o'clock in the morning? Okay. Well, I'm a little late, pardon me. I gotta take care of some cows first. All right, thank you. We're gonna have,
Could I just say, just briefly, Randy, thank you to the staff. I know this puts a difficult position on all of you, but we are a political, ma'am, I'm sorry. Could I speak to you, please? This is,
You have no idea what I'm trying to tell you. No one's been up there. No one knows what runs up
I've been
there.
up there 3 times in the last 2 weeks. You don't know how many times I've defended Ryan Millot at my personal lunch.
I appreciate that. I'm just saying, he gets beat
Okay,
up
hey.
every meeting we have.
I
Rita,
want to
thank
thank you.
Clayton,
Thank you all.
Thank you.
I know this makes it harder.
Let him defend himself.
Rita.
One time, let him talk.
remember your staff member.
I remember that, but my emotions are like way high.
Thank you.
I've watched this for a year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rita.
Okay, we're gonna take, thank you guys for coming. We're gonna take about 15 minutes of open discussion. Mr. Stewart, I'm gonna dismiss you due to some scheduling that you have right now.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
And can we say that Mr. Millot is allowed to leave if he wants, if he doesn't, I mean, it's up to you, but if it is going to be people with concerns about him and the action's been taken, I understand if he doesn't want to be here for it.
Commission, how do you feel about that?
I think that's, I second
You want to stay? Okay, so it's, I just didn't,
Yes, you have to, what, feel that he needs to witness and be a part of it. If you feel that it is, then
Well, if I thought it would be beneficial for Ryan to understand what the concerns of the residents of Grant County in which he serves, if I thought that would be beneficial to him, then I would suggest that he stay.
and he said he would stay, so it's a moot point.
Okay.
I
All
just
right.
didn't want him to feel pressure.
So, here we go, 15 minutes, going to give 3 minutes apiece. Please state your name and get on with it.
I'm Rex Painter. I live at 312 East 12th Street. I'm glad you guys finally did something. I don't think it's only Chuck Brady. Where's Tyson at?
Yeah.
Tyson, every time it comes around, Tyson, he avoids this confusion. They both know. And I want you guys to know, there's more than the trouble that Ryan caused. You got another person up the office, you better get in line. Because if you go back to the other director we have, who was the troublemaker that started that to get him fired? You got Brenda up there.
Be careful, Rex.
I know it, but you guys need to look. Because you got more than one person you need to look at. Because trouble comes out of there too. And that, it ain't the first time. She had stirred more than one time stuff up there, and she got him involved. And look where he's at. Now you got your problem. And I know you can't go back because Chuck didn't do something, and Tyson didn't do something, but I'd like to thank you for what you did. Because we needed to get him under control because he thought the commissioner was his boss. Not you guys. You guys are an independent board by citizen, councilmen, town council, appointed people from different parts of the county and everything. So I'm glad what you guys did got done because it should have been done a long time ago.
Thank you, Rex.
Thank you, Rex.
Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is Teresa Bozell, and I have lived in Grant County my entire life. And not only that, I have worked in Grant County for 35 years as a medical professional. And if I circumvented the rules, laws, and regulations that were put in front of me by my employer, not only would I lose my job, I would lose my license to practice. This kind of corruption and deception that has gone on in this county is unexcusable. And I want to know how many of you in your day jobs would maintain your position given the level of corruption that has gone on here. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I think, was Nicole in line?
I'll be pretty brief.
Nicole's next.
A lot of these things just came to light. So you can't really be blamed for not bringing it up sooner. If it hadn't been for the Freedom of Information Act request, you wouldn't know a lot of the things that went on. It should have never gone on in this county. It really is time. And I'm glad you're taking a first step to clean up this county. There's been way too much of this. So I thank you for at least doing what you felt you could do at this point as a first step.
Thank you, Ed. Nicole?
I just have a question. As a building inspector, with him being on suspension for 5 days, am I allowed to call him for code questions, or is that not allowed for 5 days? If so, I will contact state for the next 5 days.
I think the suspension is gonna merit that he is totally dismissed from any activity associated with APC. And if you need, Nicole, you have my number, please.
Do you know the state codes and building codes?
No, but I will direct you if you have a question
I'll
regarding
call
to where you
state
need to
in
go.
order to make sure we
Okay.
get them all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is Brenda not interim executive director? I thought Brenda would be the go-to for those.
I'll work through that in the morning.
Okay, okay.
that was made bad, and you will be
Sure.
So tomorrow morning, you're gonna meet with staff.
I am.
You're gonna be genuinely upset. I would say that's the time that any of them would like to have an opportunity for a voice.
Okay,
That would be appropriate. I don't think this is, I think that was it.
okay.
I have a question. What if I'm here on my own time? I'm not getting paid to be here. I'm here as a public. So I should be able to speak in a public meeting then.
Okay.
Just want that on the record. I'm not getting paid to be here. I'm choosing my time after work to come.
I think what Mr. Bothwell
Yeah,
is,
and it is like the rest of you, and that's fine. But you all get the chance to speak in public. He's
Ryan,
saying I can speak mine.
would you help us here, please?
Out at the office. I'm just saying, it doesn't make sense.
And you're supposed to wait your turn and talk at the podium.
And I raised my hand to ask a question, and then everybody wanted to come
Grace,
to me.
Grace.
Stand
I think
behind
your
Randy, we got 10
supervisor
minutes.
is
You'll have
giving
time.
you some suggestions, and I would hope that you would adhere to that at this point.
That's fine.
Thank you.
I'm Andy Ellis from Fairmount, Indiana. Again, I hadn't planned on speaking tonight, nothing prepared. I've had other issues to discuss, but the solar is the one that nobody spoke to solar. That is most recently that impacted a number of individuals. And I do appreciate the board here trying to draw a line in the sand, put him on a pit, is what we call it at the place where I used to work. And the discipline would have gone further under my circumstances. But so I appreciate the fact that we're addressing and trying to provide corrective action for his performance. The question I have is how do we undo the damage, or how do you undo the damage that was created that under his watch? I mean, even as a casual, just a person that lives in the county, it's pretty obvious that the whole process was undermined for the solar ordinance. And as groups of us got together and tried to come up with something comprehensive, fair, that protected folks, we had somebody working behind the scenes to undermine the whole process. And I guess I just want to leave here with the thought, how do we fix the damage that he has done under his watch? And you don't have to answer it now, but you need to have some thought on that. I'm sure you probably have. That the damage has been done because of Ryan Malot's behavior and favoritism towards some is costing an awful lot of people an awful lot of sleep. So please, if you could, please take that to heart and see if we can't resolve this and try to come up with something that addresses the problems. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Duke, Grant County on Brandon Pike East. I just want to plant a thought, just so that you hear this thought. As the previous gentleman, I came here with nothing prepared. But I've had this thought in my mind for several weeks. And maybe it goes at the question of what do we do going forward. One fact, the county commissioners decided upon a 6-month moratorium that we're now about 6 or 7 weeks into. So about 4.5 months left in that moratorium. The APC is undertaking the initiative, or actually the requirement, to give attention to bringing the area-wide comprehensive plan up to spec through update, revision, and going through that whole process. In fact, as in view of what's been stated here before this commission, that's about a 10 to a 12-month pipeline of work to come to a new approved comprehensive plan. I'm just a guy that has a bachelor's degree in computer science and criminal justice. I've worked in several fields. And in each field that I've worked in, logic has been a key component of my thought process, the way I've approached issues. And if I sit here taking those two facts that I just spoke to, there is a huge incongruity, because the final approved, in my mind, the final approved new comprehensive plan is going to provide guidance and structure to how the citizens, our neighbors here in Grant County, want to see our land used and how to view economic development. It makes more logical sense to me that before anything further happens on a lot of issues, in particular the solar issue, no action be taken until we have that new approved comprehensive plan. So I would suggest that for consideration, the 6-month moratorium be revised to progress until the development and the finalization of a new comprehensive plan, putting the moratorium another, what, 10, 9, 12, 13 months down the road to whenever the comprehensive plan is approved. Thought for your consideration. That's just one guy's thought.
Thank you, Michael. One more, 3 minutes, please.
Hey, I'm Dallas Street. I live outside of Van Buren. I know we're usually supposed to give our name and where we live. I just want to provide some clarification, Mr. Soltz. You're clearly invested, and you care about this cause, and I totally support that. Ms. Rita, she had some wonderful thoughts. She cares. So I guess I want to clarify, my request for this process was not targeted simply at Mr. Malat. I'm coming for the commissioners as well. I'm doing that because I made a promise in December that we were going to expose anything that was going wrong within the county in terms of the government and how it's supposed to operate for the citizens. So I made that request by myself. I went through these documents with a handful of friends, but it was all on me. So if there's any anger that comes from this meeting, whether it be from the APC or members of the community, please direct that towards me. Do not take it out on the members of this solar group, because I acted alone in this. I have the support of this group of people because I'm following through on the guarantee that I made in December. And I will continue to do so until we get action as high as we have to go. In regards to solar, I think the gentleman made a wonderful point. Our moratorium time is ticking, and we need to start exploring options in how we're going to make it stop. I'm still anti-solar. I don't believe in industrial solar, but I care more about the local government running the way the founding fathers intended in an area that is greatly impacted by the decisions of our local government. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, we will adjourn this meeting. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you, folks, for coming. We hope we get this kind of participation when we move into the comprehensive plan. It's going to be important that we receive community feedback in that as well.
Oh, I believe it. Nobody.
10 minutes later, we close.
Good, I figured that would happen.
I figured you'd want to know that.
Thank you.
Well, somebody said, how long we got to stay here? I said, we've been here 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's
No,
fine.
public, that means they're late, they're not here. So we made a motion to adjourn, and we adjourned.
Yeah,
So nothing happened.
that's okay. I didn't figure anybody show up
So
anyway.
you didn't miss nothing.
Thank you.
You'll be fine. Right?
What are we gonna do with our bears? I do it.